Can you break down a little bit of, as much as you can, from the press briefing that the governor gave, break down a couple of the points for us, please?
Well, the Lagos state government is doing all it can, that's what he said, to ensure that Lagosians do not suffer the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so they have initiated a food bank where Lagosians can go to the different local governments where this is situated and collect food. Of course, he said it's going to be free. Now, the second point is this, is also they are also instituting markets in schools to ensure that Lagosians can easily go to the different markets close to their areas to be able to get food at a very reduced price. That's what the Lagos state government says. Of course, a lot has been going on into ensuring that the COVID-19 pandemic is totally crushed and destroyed in Lagos, and one of such is also the fact that the Lagos state government has instituted a situation where fumigation is going on all around the state in public institutions and public infrastructures in the state, of course, bus stops, parks and the like. So the Lagos state government says it is doing all it can to ensure that this pandemic goes down totally, and of course it does not affect the effect of the COVID-19 does not affect the average Nigerians, because he's looking at the fact that a lot of people who make daily pay might not be able to make some money at this point, and so the food bank comes in handy. And for those who can afford it, they go to the market close to them in public schools and get the food items they need to get. And of course, it's going to be open every 2 days. That's what the Lagos state government says, every 2 days, and that's what is going to happen this period.
And so these food, the markets will be circulated around the local governments in Lagos State, yes?
Yes, the local governments in Lagos State, the different schools in the local governments in the states. Of course, the food banks will be located in different local governments, and people can go in there and get food stuff that will last them for 14 days. Food, rice, beans, gari, a pack of bottled water and all of that will last them for 14 days. And so that's what the government is doing.
He also talked about the students that were gotten from SEME border. Tell us about that.
Yes, the students that were gotten from SEME border have been taken to the isolation center. They will be there, but he did not stipulate the time, how long they will be there. But we are all thinking that he might be for 2 weeks, so they can check them and examine them, so we do not have another case of COVID-19. But he said they are safe. He went to see them earlier today, and so he got from there to the briefing, and he told us that they are doing very well. They will be adequately taken care of, and they have nothing to fear. Of course, their parents as well have no reason to fear. They will be taken care of adequately.
Did he say anything about, apart from what we heard, about them being discharged?
Yes, he says as soon as they are certified to be discharged, they will be discharged accordingly. Of course, they'll still have to keep them for a while to ascertain their health, to check if any one of them is carrying the COVID-19 virus.
Of the fact that the possible phase that we're getting into would be community transmission. Can you speak on that, please?
Yes, I asked that question earlier, and he mentioned that they have identified some communities, that's IKEJA, ETIOSA, and some other communities, and they are doing all it can to ensure. That's why, first of all, the fumigation is all around, and he's advocating safe distancing, isolation if you can. Is advocating that such that we do not have this spread, because Lagos State is highly populated, and some areas in Lagos are actually highly populated, and so they are doing, he said the government is doing all it can to ensure that we do not have extra cases of the COVID-19, because Lagos has the highest number of cases of COVID-19 victims, and so they do not want they don't want to leave any stone unturned. And so this measures the government is putting in place is to ensure that the virus does not further spread, and of course is ruling out a total shutdown of the Lagos economy.
Do you have, okay, the transmission, the community transmission is based on the fact that so far what we have, the cases we have are basically imported. And so trying to guard against this community transmission now, did he say on what can be done, what should be done? I mean, off the cuff, what we know is just stay at home. Stay at home, but outside that...
Off the cuff, yeah. Yeah, off the cuff, just stay at home and all of that, but also safe distance. Do not come too close to the next person, and of course, always wash your hand, use your hand sanitizers. Just ensure that there's general safety, general well-being around you. That's one way the government is putting in place, because that's what they have been promoting at this point, ensuring that Lagosians stick to the rule. Do not move around if you don't have to move around. If you have to, absolutely you can, because the economy is there's no rule, there's no shutting down of movement. But at this point, it's advocating that let's keep a safe distance from each other. Let's ensure that there's a safe space between myself and the next person, such that we do not easily spread this virus, and maintain proper hygiene.
I mean, obviously, the focus is on Lagos, because currently in Nigeria, Lagos is the epicenter, hence the need to curb and contain the disease here in Lagos. He also mentioned about the indices, which will indicate on whether or not to shut down Lagos. Do you have any idea of what the figure they're looking at is? That's the indices.
Well, the figure is quite, the indices, the figure is quite humongous, because it states that it's just like what we know. One person moving out does not know he has the virus and hits the next person, and that person transmits to a larger percentage of people. And so they are looking at the fact that if we isolate ourselves, if we have safe distance with the next person, it can reduce the spread of this virus, because close proximity to the next person actually spreads this virus. So he's looking at the safe distance. Earlier, the Ministry of Health had a briefing, same with what we've had here. Of course, we carried it live, and the statistics were shown, out of which 70%, the virus has caught about 70% of men. That's what the Ministry of Health had, and of course, women make the 30%. So they're looking at the situation whereby we have a safe distance with each other. We ensure that our health is a priority, and of course we keep a personal hygiene, and that way they break the chain of the virus and ensure that it dies abruptly.
Theophilus, thank you so much for your thoughts. Thanks for sharing.